Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of First Look Final Word, podcast where we take you along to see a new movie. My name's Pete.
Yeah, and I'm Trevor. If you're a first-time listener, we're going to drive to the theater, and then on the way there, we're going to have a little bit of a conversation, and on the way back, we're going to give you our first immediate reactions to the movie we just saw.
Yeah, what's this week's movie, Trevor?
This week's movie is Dune 2, and what's that I hear in the back? Is that a stowaway?
Yeah, we're getting some Uber, some side gig on the Uber here. Pick someone up on the way.
Well, you gotta have a side gig.
You guys are such jokers.
Yeah,
Right.
we got a guest today.
That's my good friend Justin. Hi, Justin. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to have a third wheel today.
Yeah, but yeah, as I said, it's Dune 2, so it's a big movie, so we needed a big guest, and Justin is our resident Dune expert.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for coming into the car, Justin. It's going to be a good one. All right, so where do you want to kick off? Should we just kick off with our history with Dune up until this point?
Yeah, sounds good. Did you want to...
Well, we got the synopsis, right? I think Justin is...
Oh, yeah, Justin, do you want to read the synopsis of the movie we're about to see?
Every time I
Absolutely.
forget. Every time I forget.
Okay, we got it. Paul Atreides unites with Chani and the Fremen while seeking revenge against the conspirators who destroyed his family. That's it. That's all.
All right.
Sounds good.
There we go. Yeah, I'd watch that movie.
Yeah, seen the first one.
Yeah, so I guess we're kind of assuming people listening will have seen Dune Part 1.
Yeah, I would hope so. I mean, you probably don't want to listen to a podcast about Dune Part 2 if you've not seen Part 1, but
Yeah.
I mean, each to your own. If you just can't get enough of us, then
Yeah,
that's fine too.
There you go.
But no, yeah, this is the sequel to how long ago did the first one come out? Was it
2 years?
2021.
2021?
Yeah.
2024 now.
Yeah, so 3 years now.
Yeah, so I was just looking at the map. I think we missed our turn.
No, that was for the toll hike.
Oh, look at
So I was-
your GPS is throwing me off, Trevor.
Yeah, even though I told it not to do that.
That's all right. Yeah, so where were we? Okay, yeah, Dune Part 2.
So we're really driving the car for these people.
It's like, I'm not worried for my life or anything, it's fine. This is the part that Justin gets to appreciate now, is the actual trying to navigate where we're going and driving while we're trying to record the podcast.
Loving every second.
Yeah, you get to see the behind the scenes fun that we have.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so yeah, shall we talk about what our history with Dune is? Did you want to go first, Pete?
Sure, yeah. So, yeah, I'm a fan of the book. I did read the book or listen to the audiobook because that's my thing. But it was a while ago, so I didn't retain a lot of the knowledge of all the intricacies because it was pretty dense story, and I only really read the first novel. I didn't get into the lore and the extended universe, I guess you'd call it. But no, I was a big fan of the book. Loved the first movie. Not a huge fan of the Lynch version, but did watch that again recently just to try and give it another go. But I don't think to this day I've ever finished a full watch of that movie. It just it's got some good stuff. Like it's got some good stuff in there. He really swung for the fences on that one, but no, it ended up being a little bit of a mess for sure.
So how far have you gotten, and how many times have you tried to...
Only like
to
two,
get through
only
it?
like 2 or 3, and it's honestly always about the same spot where it loses me, and it's funnily enough is like where Doom Part 1 kind of finishes off.
Yeah.
Where just before he gets real into the whole like what do you call it, Messiah sort of storyline with Paul. So that's kind of like, because in the Lynch version it kind of just rushes right through all that because it's trying to fit it all in.
Yeah.
So I'm appreciating that they split it into 2 movies. I'm hoping that this one, this Part 2, does a better job of spacing that out and sort of...
Well, it's been like 12 years or so since I've read Dune, but
Right.
doesn't it kind of split into like 2 books, basically? Where it
I
kind
don't
of
remember.
divides along that line?
Maybe.
Resident Dune expert, do you remember that?
I cannot remember,
I
man.
mean, it feels like a natural splitting point, right? Because it's like...
Yeah.
And that's why I think a lot of people said the first movie was a lot of setup, just sort of for the second one, because it is just sort of moving the pieces into position and the big betrayal and all that, and to get into the big meat of the actual storyline with Paul and the Fremen.
World building. That's what we
That's
call
the
it in the
word. Yeah,
business.
world building. There you go. That's why we brought Justin in.
And so, did you say how even you enjoyed the Denis Villeneuve?
Denis Villeneuve. Yeah, yeah. I loved it. I thought it was excellent. Like one of my favorite films of that year for sure. I just love him, and the visuals alone are just incredible in that movie. And yeah, it's like perfect casting, which we'll get into. But no, loved it. Got a lot of expectations for the second part. I'm hoping it continues on and sort of expands and is as amazing as the first. So well, let's hope so.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I think I've gone a bit deeper into it than you, though I'm not like
Nerd.
I'm not a fan. Well, I am a nerd, but
Not a dude nerd.
I'd say I'm more
we're
becoming a
gatekeeping
Dune
nerds.
nerd as time goes
That's fair enough.
on. But yeah, I read the first book about, like I said, about 12 years ago or so now, and then I read 3 of the sequels about 8 years ago. So that's Dune, Messiah, Children of Dune, and God Emperor.
Nice.
My man.
Well done. You pass.
God Emperor being the second best, I would say. And I was like, I enjoyed all of the sequels. And at the end of God Emperor, like it ends in a way that was very satisfying to me. So I never felt the need to go back for book 5 and 6, which does another time jump. I don't think it's spoiling anything to say that books do time jumps between them. Yeah, and then I'm a huge David Lynch fan,
Yeah.
and I've gone through his filmography a couple times, and like you, I tried to go through Dune like a while ago when I was going through his filmography, and I fell asleep about 20 minutes through it, and so I just kind of took that as like, this is a sign to give up trying.
I
So,
think he tried to do too much. It's too dense.
but that being said, I did watch it yesterday for the
Oh, yeah?
first time,
Wow.
and
All the way through?
all the way through. Yeah, I found some time to do it after my wife went to sleep.
It's short though, isn't it? Isn't it like
It's like
a couple hours?
It's not that short.
No?
I don't
it's
think.
2 hours 20 minutes,
All right.
or
I mean, that's
something
not
like
that long.
that.
Not as long as these guys, but
But
long,
yeah,
long
that's
enough.
it's short for the amount of stuff that it's trying to do. Basically, like it's trying to do like a Lawrence of Arabia type
Yeah, I
story,
guess that's a
right?
different
Yeah,
kind of problem.
exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of agree with you. I actually rather liked the first half, but then the second half is really just being played on fast forward. Like
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
5 years later or whatever, and then so
Yeah, I think it's about when you see Sting in the diaper. That's when I sort of turned it
He
on.
wanted to be nude for
that's
that.
when
scene.
that's when I paused it.
It's like there's not obviously not going to be anything better in this movie. I can turn it off.
No, I was scared of that movie for a long time because of its reputation, and I'd say like after having just watched it, like I think it's not as bad as people say it is. Look, though it is sloppy, it is cheap, and it does like run way too fast with the story. But like I do love the look and feel of a lot of it. I love the sets, and I love the costumes, and I love the creatures, like the guild navigator
And the
brain
pugs.
dudes.
The
And
pugs.
the pugs, like, yeah, he might mention that. I totally missed the pugs. I had no idea.
Yeah, I only remember a few.
I'll send you
pugs.
some stills.
Yes, send me some stills of the
I'm
pug.
gonna Google Patrick Stewart pug.
Yeah, and yeah, like there is some good casting in there, though. I don't know if I would want to shout out any acting in particular for that movie.
Maybe not.
It's rough,
Yeah, the
man.
acting is not its strong point.
And then yeah, I'm a big Denis Villeneuve fan. I think he's one of the best directors working, and like his Dune Part 1 was one of my favorite movies of the last 10 years, basically.
Oh, wow.
I love it. So what about you, Justin?
Yeah, I came to Dune from a different sort of path, I guess. That path, you guys came to it from book. I came to it from video game, I guess. So I remember this was in elementary school, late elementary school, say grade 7, grade 8. I was over at a friend's house and he was playing Dune 2. And I thought it was great. So eventually I got my parents to buy me Dune 2000, which was the sequel. And
Wait, it's called Dune 2000?
Dune 2, then 2000.
It was that supposed to be like futuristic for Dune?
Even more
Because
futuristic.
I think the plot of Dune takes place in the year 10,000.
There's 10,000 something. Yeah, this is made by the Command and Conquer guys, Westwood.
Oh, I see. Is it like just like a RPG?
Yeah, I've actually heard those. I've heard a really good thing about those games, and for some reason, I never got around to playing them.
They're all right. I'll say that.
Bit
but
dated though, maybe. The spice.
so
the
past
spice.
that, I saw at a bookstore one day the book Dune House Atreides, and I thought, oh great, they make books about my favorite video game.
they made a Dune book. That's crazy.
And that's a Brian Herbert book, right?
Yeah, it's a Brian Herbert, and little did I know what I was getting myself into because it stunk to high heaven. Even at that time, I thought it wasn't great, and it came to me later, probably another trip to the bookstore or something, where I saw that the actual series Dune wasn't written by Brian Herbert, but Frank Herbert.
Who's this guy? Who's this
Yeah.
cancer?
Who's this pretender?
Yeah,
Um,
you're not Brian.
Yeah. Frank Herbert's no Brian.
Yeah. So I read Dune, and I was hooked on them then. It took me a while to get through all 6 of them. I've gone through them twice now.
Oh wow, that's impressive.
Because I believe, like, when I read the sequels, I borrowed them from you,
Yes,
right? And I
Yeah.
had them for a long time.
you did. I haven't reread them since then, but I've got some cool copies with some pretty like pulp 70s covers. But yeah, like Trevor, my 2 favorites are Dune and God Emperor of Dune. Even after reading the sequels, and like Trevor said, there's 10,000, 100,000 year time jumps in between the sequels, so it's really just taking this world and extending it further and further to see where it takes you. And is it worth it? Maybe. The real meat is in the first 4, because then you get the original story, and then you see where that story leads in the future, and I think that is important.
So someone who reads the book or probably knows the book better than I do, how did you find that the part 1 sort of adapted the novel? Like, was the stuff, because I only really remembered the greatest hits, right? So I was like, okay, yeah, that was the stuff that they took out or added that.
I know that's it for me too. Like started remembering a lot as I was watching the new one, and then I remembered even more when I watched the David Lynch one.
Because I just remember the book being so dense, so that's why I don't remember a lot of it.
Yeah. So the big thing I remember being different is how Liet Kynes died. Because we're allowed to do spoilers for a extremely old
spoilers
book,
for
right?
part 1 and the book, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as it's part 1, it's fine.
Yeah, so when Liet Kynes is dying, it was a he in the book, she in the movie.
Right. It was he in the Lynch one, wasn't it?
That's the Judge of the Change, right?
Yeah. She is a ecologist, I guess.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, so when she dies, she kind of has this epiphany of how the spice is created. And I don't think they ever touched on that in part 1. The spice is just kind of there, right?
Yeah.
And it's not important, really, in the grand scheme of things, where the spice comes from. It's important that the spice is there, and it drives the whole Imperium and space travel.
Yeah, I guess it's like with any adaptation, right? It's just really when you have the book, you can really get into the nitty gritty of the world building and the history and politics and all that stuff, and and geography. Is like in the movie, it's like you don't need to spend 20 minutes describing the hierarchy of the
That's
different
exactly
houses.
Yeah, I think what the new movie does well is it really portrays the emotion behind it.
Yeah.
So then you kind of understand everyone's motivations. You understand who's a bad guy and who's a good guy. So even though you might not understand, like, what are all these guilds and who are the Bene Gesserits and
Why does he look like that? is there a reason why
Why is
they
Stellan-
have no hair?
why is Stellan Skarsgård so gross?
What's those guys' problem?
I guess I'd be pissed off if I had no eyebrows.
Yeah, that's
All of
essentially
you,
what it
your
comes
whole
down to.
family. Like, your nephew, you, damn.
You know how hard it is to go out in the rain? One's got to wipe your eyes.
Well, that's why on Arrakis you don't have to worry
Exactly.
about that.
That's why they were so happy to be there. No worried about getting rain in your eyes.
And sorry, Justin, did you say how you felt about the new movie?
I absolutely love it. So I can't even like think of a better director, first of all, to pick to do the new adaptation. I don't think anyone else could have done it like him.
Yeah, that's a good question. Like, is there anyone else who has like even like the technical ability to do like maybe Nolan would have the technical ability, but probably doesn't have Villeneuve's grasp of story in the same way.
I think it's telling as well that when was the book first published? It was like
70
Yeah,
or
it's like-
something, like or
Yeah,
68 maybe.
Is it late 60s or late 70s?
Late 60s, early 70s, I think, right?
It's a thing.
Oh shit, I'm supposed to be the expert, aren't I?
What's that?
He's supposed to be the expert. Yeah, but to be, it's been around that long, and nobody's really been able to get it. I know they've done stuff on TV and the Lich version and everything, but I feel like it's one of those things where like everyone, if you're a director, you're probably like, oh, I'd love to do that, but that is terrifying. I have no
Yeah.
idea how to do that well.
People are just scared, right? And
Yeah,
even
it's
with
crazy.
the,
It's like, I can't do that.
with the David Lynch one, they handed out a glossary at the premiere because no one had any idea what the fuck these terms were, right? Like, what is a Bene Gesserit and why should I care? What is a Fremen?
Yeah, everyone likes homework going to the movies.
Exactly. Yeah, you gotta do your pre-work before you go.
The original does have this integrity to it, though, in respect for the source material.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. He tried to. I feel like he was respecting the source material. He really wanted to do his vision, but I don't think he had the budget.
Can you show me the page in the book where anyone had to milk a cat?
That's page 1, isn't it?
It's read between the lines. Have either of you seen Jodorowsky's Dune?
Yes.
What's that?
So this Mexican director Jodorowsky was like
He's nuts, by the way.
yeah. He's like a surrealist director, and he was like kind of picked to adapt Dune in the mid 70s before Star Wars had even happened.
Oh wow!
And he had cast like Mick Jagger, he cast Salvador Dali to be the Emperor.
Wow.
Different huge band for each planet.
Yeah.
Like Pink Floyd was going to do a planet. The Rolling Stones were going to do, I think,
Okay.
Dee Dee Prime.
I'm sold. I'm in.
Yeah, and like I always say his name wrong, but H.R. Giger
Oh yes.
was gonna do
Sure, one of
did
them.
all the designs for it. Am I saying that right, Justin?
Geiger, I'm pretty sure.
I think it's Giger, yeah.
Yeah.
So do all the designs, and like he designed like the Harkonnen, at which he then basically adapted that to be the alien from Aliens.
Oh wow!
From Alien.
Really? That's crazy. You might-
And yeah, like a lot of people from that project went on to, because it got canceled because the studio saw like the storyboards and stuff like, this is like the craziest thing I've ever seen. We're going to lose so much money.
Like, we
He
need to
wanted to
give
make
this to someone
Salvador
sane.
Dali the highest paid actor in Hollywood.
It's like $100,000 a minute.
Yeah, by having him on screen for like 30 seconds, but pay him $100,000 a minute. Like, yeah, the guy is absolutely
I haven't heard that.
bonkers.
Is it like a documentary or anything about it?
That's a documentary, yeah. So that's how I learned it.
Yeah.
Jodorowsky's Dune.
I gotta look that up. That
It's
sounds
worth a
incredible.
watch.
So in this, I think it was like 2 years before Star Wars. So like that kind of sci-fi wasn't really
No.
like flying quite yet.
Well, I mean, Lucas had the right idea, right? Just take all the coolest bits and just make it a bit more serialized, mainstream it a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and there's a lot of Dune in Star Wars too.
There's so much. It's crazy. That's what I mean. Just take all the bits that work really well with Dune, take out all the heavy bits, just make it a bit more fun.
Yeah.
Not that Dune's not fun, but you know what I mean.
No, for sure.
I mean, okay, so, Dune would have to be late 60s, right? Because Star Wars is 77,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
That was yeah.
Sure. We'll give it to you.
Yeah, I want to guess it was like 68.
I hear you Googling back there.
Just call me Detective Justin. Yeah.
Yeah, because Dune, like, and like the Dune diehards will probably hate this reduction, but it's Dune.
Dune heads.
Dune's sort of like, it's like half Lawrence of Arabia and half Foundation kind of stuff with, Paul's the mule, but
Right.
the hero of the story.
Yeah, and Paul doesn't die like a Looney Tunes death before the story starts.
So should we get into our one game for today?
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So we're talking about the draft.
Talking about the draft.
Talking about the draft. Yeah. So Trevor came up with a pretty cool idea about doing like a fan casting for if we were making Dune today, right? If we were the casting director at least, who would we pick to play? How many people did we pick? Like 12 of the
We
12
put 12 we put 12 people on the list, and we have kind of, for the sake of time, we have made the picks already, but
Yeah.
thought we could kind of go through our recasting and then kind of give reasons why we're recasting probably like one of the perfectly cast movies of all time. That's the thing with this draft. Like it was pretty hard. Like, especially like even saying like a guy like Timothy Chalamet, really kind of the perfect person to play Paul, even though he was kind of a little bit old when he was playing the part when he first started. So should we kind of go through the 12 characters? Do you have the list up there?
Hold on, let me pull it up.
Hold on. I got the list somewhere. Timothy Chalamet as Paul Atreides, Rebecca Ferguson as Lady Jessica, Oscar Isaac as Duke Leto Atreides, Josh Brolin as Gurney Halleck, Stellan Skarsgård as Baron Vladimir Harkonnen, Dave Bautista as Glossu Raban, Zendaya as Chani, Jason Momoa as Duncan Idaho, Javier Bardem as Stilgar, Austin Butler as Feyd-Rautha Harkonnen, Florence Pugh as Princess Irulan, and Christopher Walken as Shaddam IV.
Nice, I like that. We should bring Justin in more often to make us look prepared.
Kind of like an administrative assistant. I like it.
Anytime, guys.
So, what do you guys think of the cast, like, as a whole? Like, I already set up what I kind of think. I think it's it's mostly
I think
perfect.
that was a hard thing about this game, right? Is it's like, you're gonna pick this role. It's like, well, they already picked the perfect person, so what's the point in talking about it?
There are certain roles you can see someone else being in the role, maybe not as good,
Yeah,
maybe
for
just
sure.
as good, but it doesn't matter because the it's already cast perfectly. Like, casting some of these characters was near impossible because the right person is already there.
The one role that I wasn't completely sold on is Christopher Walken as the Emperor. It's I'm kind of a little worried about it.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see how he plays that.
And yeah, like also like I know a lot of people like Austin Butler, but he's a bit of an unknown entity to me that I hadn't seen Elvis.
Oh, Elvis is. There's nothing wrong with Austin Butler, but if
Well, there's a huge but.
if Hitler, Stalin, and Baz Luhrmann were in a room and I had a gun with 2 bullets, I would shoot Baz Luhrmann.
Oh wow!
Like, oh my gosh.
Put him right up there with Kenneth Branagh.
I'm sorry, it's just how I feel.
Wow. Okay, that's a very strong point you made there.
I do not like Baz Luhrmann.
So you didn't like Elvis then?
No!
I recently watched Elvis on a plane. Which,
That's the perfect place to watch.
yeah, which was like, okay, I may as well watch it. I should see it because like you said, I wanted to see his performance, and yeah, it was fine. It's just like any other musical biopic.
I just don't want to watch music biopic. Like,
Well, ever since they did Dewey Cox, it's just like, what's the point? It's just ruined.
That's exactly what I think. Like,
just ruined.
Walk Hard just did it
Yeah.
like perfectly.
Walk Hard was the period on biopics.
Yeah. No, seriously.
Well, that's what I heard about like One Love. It's just come out. It's like, yeah, it's totally fine biopic, but it's exactly what you expect.
I've heard it's a bit of a mess, to tell you the truth.
Oh, really? Oh, I hadn't heard that.
I thought from the trailer that it just didn't really look that good. Like, who's asking for that right now?
I know what you mean.
Like, and I love Bob Marley, but
Who doesn't, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, it's not something I'm super thrilled, but that's I kind of like when they try and do something different with it. At least, like I really like Rocket Man.
so I haven't even given it a chance.
You know, give it a chance. It's pretty good because I mean, I when I say I liked it, I mean it wasn't that great, but I like that they
in comparison,
I like that they tried to do something different. They tried to make it.
they did like some magical realism.
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
right?
exactly, and tried to make it
I,
a bit
I love
different.
Taron Egerton in it.
Yeah,
He's
he was
fantastic.
amazing. He was perfect.
The thing I just don't like is, they have a conversation, and like I'm just describing something from Walk Hard. It's like they have a conversation, then they go like, "Huh,"
Yeah.
and then like, "This is how I'm gonna write the song."
Yeah,
based on this thing
play that
just
again. Play that again.
Wait, what did you just say?
I was reading a review of one love, and they said there's literally a scene where he's about to go on stage, do a song, and he stops and remembers something from his childhood, and then goes, it's like, that is exactly what they do.
Yeah, you can't be doing that.
Dewey Cox has to think about his entire life before he goes out on stage. Anyways, that was quite the tangent.
Yeah, well, sorry about that.
No, it's great. Yeah, so maybe as we're going through the list, we just say that the rules of the draft. So we approached this like we were casting directors, and we're casting like our premium choice roles, people for the roles, like based on the current ages of actors working today, give or take a few years, because we're casting part 1 and part 2 at the same time. But we each get one magic pick where we're able to resurrect a dead person or de-age someone to their optimal age to play the role that we want to play. So we each get one magic pick of any actor for any role.
Can you age someone up?
That's a great question.
I never thought of that.
Yes.
I'm not doing that now. It's too late.
And then so how the draft worked is like as soon as we picked an actor, then that actor wasn't available for anyone else to pick. So we all have a different list of 12. All right, so
Wait, how do we want to do this? Just sort of like list off your 12,
well, why don't we each go through
or just go through each character?
go through each character? Does that sound good, Justin?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Sure. All right, let's start with the Emperor then. We'll go bottom up.
Okay, so you want to go Pete, Justin, Trevor?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so for the Emperor, my pick was Ben Kingsley.
Love that.
Yeah, I mean, just because he's Ben Kingsley. So Ben,
He's a regal presence.
he's a regal presence, but he can also play lots. They can play any which way. Whoa, that guy's exhaust is
Oh my
definitely
gosh,
hanging
yeah.
off his gun.
No, it's
look
just
at
like
those
sparks
sparks,
flying.
That's the way you need video podcasting.
Well, I've honestly thought about
Yeah.
getting like a dash cam so people can see what we're seeing, but then like people would just like DOS where we're
Yeah.
You cut it off before you get home. At the very
so they
least.
can get within like a 10-kilometer radius of where we live.
Yeah. Okay, so hopefully that won't go flying
Um,
through Trevor's windshield, but
Anyways, yeah, we really bring you along for the ride on this podcast. All right, yeah,
we're
Justin,
not faking it. We are actually on the highway.
who was your pick?
Okay, my pick for Emperor is a bit of a dark horse here. It's John Noble. Now, if you don't remember who John Noble is, he was Denethor from Lord of the Rings. Also a regal presence from the one thing I know him from. But I'm just feeling it, you know?
It's a good pick.
Would you have him eat a cherry tomato?
Multiple, like maybe three at a time.
Just handfuls, just fistfuls, just non-stop.
It's half the movie.
So I was thinking my magic pick for Paul, because I was having a really hard time thinking of someone to kind of replace Chalamet. But as I was watching the Lynch Dune yesterday, I saw someone who was cast in a different role than the Emperor that I thought would actually be perfect for the role, and so I used my magic pick for Max von Sydow.
Nice.
Sorry, Cedo?
It's,
Max von
Ditto.
Sydow? Oh no.
Anyways, yeah, he
Max.
plays the Judge of the Change in the original Lynch one, and he's only in it for like one scene. And I don't remember the name of the actor who played the Emperor, but I was just thinking the
he was
entire
pretty
time that, why do you not have Max von Sydow playing this role?
Yeah, he was wasted in that role.
Yeah, and he could play gravitas, and he can play pathetic too, which I think is a good mix for the Emperor of Dune.
Good shout. Good shout. All right, so moving on to Princess. How do you say the names? Irulan?
Rulin.
Irulan. Can't read my writing. Yeah, so I went for Emma Watson on this one. I tried to pick all British and Irish people just to represent my
Giving away the
home
strategy,
country. So I went with Emma Watson. She could definitely stand around looking like a princess.
Yeah.
With a plummy accent quite easily. So
Yeah, I like that.
All right, Justin.
Yeah. I went with Sydney Sweeney. Um,
that's a good one.
it's an easy pick right now because she is blowing up in popularity. I mean, I'm making money here, guys.
Yeah, so you don't even want to just put together the best cast. You're like, I want to make the most money. I want to put butts in seats.
Who's famous right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
That works though. That
Well,
works.
if we're getting like if Zendaya and Timothy Chalamet aren't in the movie anymore, like we have to
we gotta
bring
get
in the
someone
young
else,
vote.
huh?
Right, that's very true.
And I picked like kind of going with Max von Sydow. I'm picking another Swede, like to go with the whole imperial family. So I picked Alicia Vikander.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, I like the theme you got going there, Trevor.
Originally,
It's not much of like the two characters are both Swedish.
Double theme. What, you mean you're not picking all Swedes?
Yeah, and I would say like I had her on my mind because I've recently watched The Man from U.N.C.L.E. for the first time, and I just love everybody from that movie.
it is an underrated movie.
It is
for
very
sure.
good. I'll give you that.
Okay, who's next?
Next one on the list is Fade Ralpha. Is it Rauta?
Fade Ralpha.
Yeah, I'm terrible at pronouncing these names. All right, so for this guy, I went for Dan Stevens. I don't know if you've seen Legion, but he can play crazy really well,
Yeah.
and he can definitely do the physical stuff. And I just love Dan Stevens. He's a national treasure.
Realize you're so patriotic.
Well, I've just got back from a trip back home, so I'm feeling pretty patriotic.
King and country and all that.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Justin, who was your pick?
All right, so my pick for this is Bill Skarsgård. He
Great pick.
already has the look of a creepy Harkonnen guy.
And his real life uncle is Stellan, right?
and,
Yeah, just get all the,
He's already
just get all the
related to the guy
Skarsgårds in there.
where the guy
Good.
playing his uncle. So, yeah, Bill Skarsgård, he is fantastic. Like, if you want to see how creepy the guy can be, just watch Barbarian. Just him skittering along the floor.
You could basically
Chef's kiss.
stand there and look, and he'd be perfect.
Oh.
Wouldn't even have to do anything.
All right, my pick is Caleb Landry Jones. It's not a name that you recognize. He's the brother from Get Out, who challenges the main character to wrestle.
Okay,
yeah.
I don't know if I can remember him. It's been a while since I've seen that movie. I'll take your word for it, though.
Yeah, if you Google him, I think you'd see that
Nice.
he'd fit well for the role.
Nice one. Wow, I like that pick. All right, moving on. Next character is Stilgar, the Javier Bardem character. So for this guy, for this one, I went for Alexander Siddig.
Man, that was one of mine.
Yeah,
Someone I had considered, but it wasn't on my short list.
He's so good for it.
yeah. There was a couple of us I was thinking of, but no, I gotta rep the Star Trek somehow.
Yeah.
I went for Riz Ahmed.
Yeah, he was the one on my list too. I almost went for his.
Love him in Sound of Music and The Long Goodbye.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm going with. I think my guy's a little younger than both of yours. I'm going for Cliff Curtis. And if you don't recognize the name, I guess he's from Sunshine, which is almost a perfect sci-fi movie that kind of loses the thread a little ways in.
Yeah, I love that movie.
I love it too. I love it all the way
Absolutely
through.
love Sunshine. Oh, okay. We can talk about that after.
I have a little fix for that movie, which we can get on to another time. We're running out
Does
of
it
time.
involve Cliff Curtis? Because I think we might be thinking the same thing. But yeah, he's also in Avatar too.
Is
so
he the psychiatrist?
he is the guy who stares into the sun all the time?
Yeah, he's the psychiatrist.
Is he the
right?
psychiatrist?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
my solution does involve him.
Okay, well,
There you go.
we're on
go.
the same page, I think. Yeah, he's a blue guy in Avatar too, for all you Avatar heads out there. Yeah.
I
Cliff
didn't realize,
Curtis.
I didn't realize he was in Avatar. Interesting. Right, should we cycle through these a bit quicker? How much time? What's the time check?
Yeah, we got about 10 minutes or so before we get to the theater here.
Let's rattle through these a bit more then.
Bang them off.
Okay, so next character we'll do is Duncan Idaho, and I went for Luke Evans. That was a horrible Welsh accent.
Oh yeah, so I did say my still guy. Sorry. Yeah, Luke Evans is a great pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, love Luke Evans.
Is it me?
Sure, go.
All right. My pick for Duncan is Cooper Andrews. So he was in *Halt and Catch Fire*, Shazam. He's a big Samoan guy. He is
I
a
know
lot
that guy.
like Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
Good guy for this.
Yeah, I want to see him fighting.
So I was trying to think of like a big guy like that, but then I kind of ended up going a different way with it. I picked Stephen Yeun,
Wow.
who's kind of like the opposite of
A
that.
quarter the body weight of these
Yeah.
guys.
But I thought like, he just has to be a sword master, right? And like who's
True.
like, and I don't know if Duncan Idaho in the books really described as big and burly, like, and if he was, like, I don't give a shit. Anyways,
This is your movie.
It's your
Trevor.
movie, man.
Do what you want, man. No one can tell Trevor what to do.
I love Stephen Yeun, especially ever since I saw him in Burning.
There you go. Nice. Okay, moving swiftly on, we'll do Chani. Chani.
I think.
I don't know.
Yeah. See, I'm gonna be correcting how you say it. I'm gonna be totally fucking wrong.
Yeah, I didn't really know who to pick for this one, so I just picked someone popular. So I went Anya Taylor-Joy, which is probably a terrible choice, but it's gonna get people in. Even though there's a rumor that she's actually in the second part, so obviously not. They're not gonna morph Zendaya into her, so we'll see.
Does that invalidate your list? If
If she's in it,
Automatic
that
loss?
wasn't one of your rules.
that's true, yeah.
Who's going next?
All right, yeah, I'll just go next. I picked Taylor Russell, and if you don't recognize the name, she was in the Escape Room movies, which are really quite good, and she played opposite Timothée Chalamet in Bones and All last year. Yeah,
Nice.
Already has that chemistry.
already has that chemistry, even though he won't be in the
go.
movie.
Built in.
I went with Erin Kellyman. She was in Solo and The Green Knight recently.
Oh, I could kicking myself for not picking her because she's British and she would be perfect.
She's got a perfect look for it,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think she would just be fantastic in
Get
this.
some redemption from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which was not the best, but she was actually all right in it. I quite like her. Was that everyone? Okay.
I think so.
Let's move on to the Beast Raban, Dave Bautista's role. For this one, I forgot who did. Oh, this is the one I had no idea who to pick. So this is where I did my DA.
Your magic one.
Yeah, I went for a left field choice on this one. I picked young Robbie Coltrane, just because I want to see him just
Yeah, that was the most surprising pick.
being
of the day.
being a bastard.
So this is the one where I for a few of mine, I tried to cast against type, and I picked Henry Cavill because I would want him to see him play a villain like this, and I feel like I swooped him away from you guys.
Yeah.
I feel like he could do it really well, but I don't know. I just don't want to see him being nasty. He just seems like
a mean
he
Cavill.
seems like such a nice guy.
I don't think he would. I don't think he would. Like he would be great in that role, but I don't think he would take a role like
No,
that.
I can't imagine not rooting for him. Like even when you're not supposed to root for him. I always want him to
Did you
do
root
well.
for him in Fallout?
Yeah,
Mission
it's like
Impossible?
look at those. Look at him,
like pull up that.
like look how great that mustache is. You can't hate him.
All right, I went with Eric Bana for this one.
That's
So-
a nice choice. I like that.
Eric Bana, I don't think I've seen him in anything since maybe 2009 when he played Nero, the angry future Romulan in the new Star Trek reboot.
I remember that.
Yeah, he was great, and that is sort of a Beast Raban type role, I would
Yeah,
say.
it really
where-
was. Yeah,
Most of what he does is yell.
Right? Yeah, he had no hair and yell. a lot.
Yeah,
Ultimately failed your endeavor.
yeah. So whatever happened to that guy, but I want him.
Yeah, what did happen to that guy? I always liked him. All right. That was everyone, right? For it. So
Yep.
let's move on to Gurney Halleck. Oh no, I missed one. Let's do Gurney Halleck first,
right.
whatever. So who did I pick for this one? I can't even remember. Oh, this is when I went Sean Bean. Good old Sean Bean. Sharp. Yeah, if you haven't seen Sharp, go look it up. It's a great British TV show that set Sean Bean on his way before he became 006 or whatever he was. But yeah, I would love to see him playing a part like that.
Yeah,
You got to put Sean Bean in your movie, right?
he'd be great. Like, and he's definitely like a Josh Brolin type.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. He could do that.
Yeah. I picked Idris Elba.
Yeah, that's a great
Love
one
that.
too. I think you got in there before me on that one.
Yeah.
I wanted to get big.
I
I wanted
feel
to
like-
get Big Driss in mind somewhere.
I just help us up for a few roles. That
Yeah.
I'm sure
Can play any
all
of them,
our
can he?
lists.
Really, to be fair.
Oh, for sure. I was thinking of him for Leto for a bit too.
Like,
Oh, I
just play
had him
Paul.
for Leto for
Yeah.
a bit.
Yeah, he'd be a great leader, actually.
Um,
What about you, Justin?
yeah, I went with Liam Neeson for
Nice.
this. So
Yes.
he might be a little older than Josh Brolin. I would have to check up on that, but he's no more or less weathered than Josh Brolin. So
He's no slouch either, is he? Like, I could see him.
yeah, and that guy can act in that kind of subdued action role.
Yeah.
Just going back to what he was doing before he went on his direct-to-video spree. Yeah, he's built for that kind of role.
Yeah, great choice. Great
What do we
choice.
got next?
We're doing we'll do Baron Harkonnen because I got the winner on this.
I was so mad at you.
Yeah, I went for Brendan Gleeson on this one. I think he was a great choice. But yeah, Trevor was not happy that I picked him.
So I feel like I have a pretty solid backup. I picked Kyle MacLachlan in full fat
So
suit.
good.
Full fat too.
So good.
And I feel like he would be up for this if you asked him to do it. Me too.
He has to be, right?
He
Sorry,
would
some
be.
guy almost just ran into me there.
Yeah, pick a lane, guy.
But yeah, anyways, I would say he was good in the original Dune, but he's
Call it good.
he's basically good in everything else he's ever been in. So I feel like he'd want a bit of a redemption.
Yeah, I'd love to see him just go
Yeah.
all out.
Yeah.
And just be curious because he has a very specific way of playing a role, and it'd be interesting to see him as the Baron.
Definitely.
And who did you pick, Jocelyn?
This is my magic pick now.
Oh,
So I'm picking late career Orson Welles.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
You don't need the fat suit. He loved playing like gross, greasy men. I don't know if he'd be up for getting fully shaved, but man, he could do it. He could do it.
You know what else I just thought would be great? Brando.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, basically Apocalypse Now, Brando.
Yeah, So good.
I think that's where he based him off, to be fair. Even does like the hand over the head in the first one.
Actually, you know what? I honestly didn't even make that connection, but yeah, it is totally like that.
Definitely is. I don't know, I had not thought of that earlier. Alright, let's crack on and do Leto Atreides, the Duke. I went for who did I go for on this one? Someone else go first.
I went for Bradley Cooper. I feel like that's just a good straight down the middle pick.
Prosthetic nose or no?
I let him decide.
Okay.
He's
He's really attached to it.
yeah.
I went with Anson Mount because
that's a great one, yeah.
I promised my partner that I wouldn't pick anyone less attractive than Oscar Isaac, so she agreed with Anson Mount, and man, that had a hair. God damn.
Yeah, I this was the one I went Christian Bale. It's like Christian Bale could do anything.
Yeah. Oh,
He's age appropriate for that.
Yeah.
And he's British. So yeah, that
It's appropriate to British. Check. Check.
that's how I do things. Okay, then moving on to Lady Jessica. I went for Keira Knightley for this one. I've been a huge Keira Knightley fan. I had a massive crush on her when I was a kid. So I wanted to get her in here, and I really like what.
you just want an excuse to meet her.
Yeah, it's like, can you come in for another audition? No, I really like what she's been doing, like in the late stage career after all that nonsense being on boats and in the Caribbean. So she's been doing some interesting stuff. So I think she could do it really well.
Yeah.
I picked Rose Byrne, a little bit against type, but she can do dramatic roles too. I think she would be great in it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Rose Byrne is very, very good.
And in these kind of movies, like you always see like people kind of stretching, you know.
It's what they're for, right?
Yeah.
If somebody like if someone could spread their wings, usually it's a movie like
Oh,
this.
the guy.
Oh yeah,
The exhaust got pulled over.
Wow, I did not see him getting an arc into this episode. That's hilarious.
Happens.
Oh my god. Okay.
Good luck, guy.
Sorry, muffler guy.
I went with Eva Green for this
Nice.
one.
Yeah, she was on my list too. She's a
I wish I had thought of her. I think I'd still go with Rose Byrne, but that's a great pick.
Yeah, so Eva Green, she can do an action role. There's a little bit of that for Jessica, and she can do incredibly frightening. So great,
there you go. That's all you need.
and I could look at her all day.
There you go. That helps too, right? Okay.
All right, we only got a couple minutes left. So
Okay, yeah, so last one anyway. So Paul Atreides, main character. I went for Finn Whitehead, your man from Dunkirk.
I wanted it.
He
I
was
wanted it.
Yeah, I stole that one. But he was great in that, and I want to see him do more. So I think he could do it.
All right.
yeah, I went for Paul Mescal, who was in After Sun a couple years ago, one of my favorite recent movies, and he's going to be in Gladiator 2. So he's obviously used to fighting.
Ah, the sequel no one asked for.
Gladiator 2.
That's a spoiler for the conversation coming up.
All right, I went with Jacob Elordi, another Euphoria pick.
Nice.
Also in Saltburn recently.
You're just going for that Gen Z vote
Yeah.
there.
I need the Zoomer money.
Yeah.
See, I just went for people I like who I think fit the role, which is terrible if you're a casting director. I'd be a terrible casting director. I'd be like, I just like all these people. It's like, yeah, but that's not great.
All right, well, we just got a couple minutes left till we get to the theater. Like, we did have a question for today, like, because, like, Dune Part 2 was, like, my most sought-after sequel for a long time. Like, I was terrified that this wouldn't get a sequel, so the question that I had in mind was, what's your most wished-for sequel now that we've gotten Dune Part 2?
Got it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going last on this one because I'm trying to remember the one I forgot.
All right,
So you guys go.
you go first.
So my answer is a sequel to Escape from New York and Escape from LA.
Ooh.
So they talked about doing this for a while, doing like a Escape from Earth, like on the moon kind of thing.
It ends that way, right? Spoilers for
What?
Escape from LA, I guess, but
Yeah, so like
Escape from the
so some sort of spaced themed sequel to that. I don't want John Carpenter to direct it because I think he might have lost an edge, but I feel like, you kind of gotta. You should get that in while Kurt Russell still has a little bit of juice left. I'd be fine with a recast too, but I honestly would love another addition to that.
I feel like it would need a recast at this point.
Yeah, I guess you could do it with Wyatt now, maybe.
Just do like have him bring his kid along.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, you could just easily cast why it's just a clone of his dad.
Everyone
No.
loves action movie sequels with a little sidekick.
Yeah, kid
Sure.
sidekick.
yeah. This one is a little tough though because like a lot of sequels kind of just ruin it. So a lot of the great movies don't have sequels for a good reason. But I am interested in that one.
Yeah.
So how about you, Justin?
All right, my pick then is going to be Dredd,
Nice.
Yeah,
2012
it's a great
Dredd,
pick.
not Judge Dredd. Although,
I'd take a Judge Dredd
I'd take a
sequel.
Judge Dredd sequel.
Just Sly Stone.
Yeah, well, Rob Schneider needs work. Guy's gone off the deep end a little bit. Let's pick him up. Yeah, so Dredd sequel, I mean, it's set up perfectly for it. The first one was one of the tightest action movies I've ever seen.
It was,
I mean,
it was so good.
it is one of the best examples of climbing a building action movie.
Yeah,
Fun.
I feel like the Raid came out right at the same time.
Yeah.
It kind of stole a lot of its thunder, I think, or took a lot, like split the attention, maybe.
Well, I think it more than split the attention because Dredd made it did not do well.
No, it did not. I don't know how well the Raid did, but I got a sequel.
I wonder if Carl Urban had agreed to do it because his face must have been hurting after
I
frowning
feel like
that much.
I feel like he definitely said he did, but he might have just been saying that in an interview.
All right, well, we're just pulling in here now.
Okay, I'll do mine real quick.
You got one?
Yeah, I want to see I want to let Guillermo do his trilogy of Hellboy movies.
Yes.
Yeah,
Ron Perlman.
He really wanted to do that third one with Ron Perlman,
And Del Toro, yeah.
They're so good.
Hellboy 2 is such a great movie.
it's so good, and like they were so up for doing a third one, but it just never materialized.
He's almost too old to do
Yeah,
it
it's absolutely a crime that
now. Yeah.
I
third one never
I
got made.
refuse to even watch the reboot.
No,
one.
I've heard it's not
oh
great.
hell no.
Even though I like Harbor, I just no thanks. It's Ron Perlman for me or nothing.
All right, so we're at the theater now. So for those of you who are first-time listeners, we're gonna go in, watch the movie, then come back and give you our immediate first thoughts. Spoiler free for about 5 minutes, and then we'll give you warnings to hop off until you've seen the movie, and also tell you the best time to go pee.
Yeah, we did that pee report.
All right, well, see you guys after the break.
Yep. See you guys. Don't go anywhere. Okay, everyone, we're back. We just saw Dune Part 2
And we're
in IMAX.
already rolling because it's very late. We want to get home.
Yeah, we're on the road already, so that's okay. So yeah, initial thoughts, guys. Should we let the guests go first?
Yeah, let's set them up here.
Damn, guys, put me on the spot like that. All right, so I had extremely high expectations going into this, and I would say it absolutely met them. Everything was. I couldn't imagine it any better. The pacing was. It did not feel like, what was it, 2 hours 40 minutes?
It did
Yeah,
zip along. That's
2:38 is what I clocked it
it
at.
did not feel like that at all. It was just, if you thought there wasn't enough action in the first movie, this one more than makes up for it, I think. Yeah, well, initial reactions. That's it for me.
Yeah.
Right? What do you think, P?
Yeah, I agree. I thought my expectations weren't as high as I know Trevor's expectations are crazy high. I just wanted it to be as good as the first, if not better, which I think it definitely did. It's definitely on par with the first one, but maybe even a little bit better. Like Justin said, it does pay off with a lot more of the big set pieces, which were amazing, and the visuals are just incredible. Without getting into spoilers, it's like even the stuff from the trailer you can already see. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was amazing.
Well, I'm getting no, just joking. I
One star.
I absolutely loved it. Like I was getting a little worried in the first like 10 minutes or so,
Right.
but like the other 2 hours and 30 minutes I thought was absolutely amazing. I really loved it all the way through. Like once I kind of realized what exactly it was doing, like I
Right.
was just totally on board. Like I like as someone who's read the book before, I still didn't quite like guess the exact tone that this movie would go for. And I was like very pleasantly surprised. I think it was an amazing job.
Yeah, I guess the only thing that I thought wasn't the best, but this is just the nature of the story. I think there was a few characters that seemed a little bit underserved, but didn't really have that much to do. But we can get into that later on when we get into more spoiler stuff. But
I can see that a bit.
I mean, I think that's just the story, though, right? It's like there's a lot going on.
Yeah, even in, a total of 5 hours between two movies,
Yeah.
there's still more you could pack in.
Exactly, that's it.
Yeah. So after seeing it, do you kind of think of them as like one big movie, like you would for the Lord of the Rings, or are they kind of two distinct things in your mind?
Yeah, I think I'd say they were definitely two parts of the same story. I don't think you'd ever want to just stick two on without watching. I mean, maybe you would, but I don't know. I like a lot of what they did in the first one. I like all that setup and the world building and with the moving the pawns around in the places where they're going to be. Because like they don't even introduce the Fremen until really late in that movie,
Yeah.
and that's like the main focus of this movie.
Yeah, like,
So yeah, I think I mean you could, I guess you could, but no, I'd want to see them both at the same time. I think.
I'd love to see them back to back, maybe with like a lunch break in between.
Yeah.
a little bit of an intermission.
Definitely an intermission.
But no, if there's ever like playing at the local IMAX, part one and part two back to back, like I'm there.
Yeah,
I'd do it.
I'd be there. I'd be there in spirit. depends on the seat. If it was that IMAX we were just in, I don't think I could hack it.
Yeah,
Oh my
those
Not
God.
sat next to the guy.
Yeah, can we talk about that theater for a
I was
second?
next to.
Damn.
Yeah, it was hot. And
Like
cramped.
just a tuna can.
Yeah, it was a little bit.
Yeah, so I had been there quite a bit when I went to university, and we should say like we went to a different theater than we normally did because we saw like the fan sneak peek about 5 or 6 days before the wide release, and yeah, we were really packed in there. And I thought that it was going to be like the 70mm one, but it was digital.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
sadly
they
not.
had a poster to the side for 70mm, but that was like coming later, I guess. Just do it for this one. Why do you have two copies?
I feel like the film stock just hasn't been distributed that wide yet.
I'm mad.
Probably.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's because like in the region we live in, that's basically the place you would go to see 70 millimeter IMAX. I don't know if anywhere in Canada else has that.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think they do.
They gotta have it in Vancouver, right?
You would think, but who knows?
Those guys are weird over there. Who knows what's going on?
But that's not the opinion of the official part opinion. We love our Vancouver fans.
Yeah, we already have Kenneth Branagh mad at us. We don't need all of Vancouver mad at us too.
We've already got
I'm the
Baz
guest.
Luhrmann
Just put it
against
on me.
us
It's
now.
fine.
Baz Luhrmann and people from Vancouver.
Vancouver and Baz Luhrmann, you are
That's
both
a-
officially on notice.
That's a weird death list, but whatever.
Yeah. So for
Did we like officially go into spoilers yet?
no, not yet. I was gonna give my P report.
Okay,
really
good,
quick.
good. I had to remember
so-
where we're at.
There's no real like optimal moment. Like I clocked 1 hour 35 minutes. Like Paul and Johnny are having a bit of a quiet conversation, and he like after he kind of says some key plans of his, then I think it's a good opportunity to quickly go pee. But even in like a almost 3 hour movie, I think I saw one person get up to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, like I needed to go pee probably about 20 minutes in, and I was like,
Yeah. Good luck getting by the guy.
yeah, I was like, I'm not, like, I don't want to try and climb all these people. And honestly, I was like, I don't see a bit where it's like I feel like it's going to be quiet. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
there was like it's one of those movies where you don't want to miss anything. There's no like, there isn't really any scenes where you're just like, oh, this is boring filler. Can we move on? It's like it really does move through.
So the official
well.
report is hold it.
Yeah, I'd say hold it, or just yeah,
Bring a
I don't
cup?
know, hold it. Yeah, go beforehand, but like not like I did.
Oh yeah, and you didn't even go beforehand. That's crazy.
Just drink a massive drink and a big
Wild
cup, big
man
cup
here.
of tea, and then just power through it like a man. Or an idiot, one of the two.
Okay, so should we just go into spoiler talk then?
Sure.
So I guess we all like I give it a 6.5 out of 6.5.
Wow, we went full. So it meant your crazy high expectation. You said best film you've ever seen or something you were hoping for, right?
I didn't say best film I ever saw, but I said one of my favorites.
One of your favorites.
This is one of my favorites. Like the 2024 movie scene just started basically, and like it's safe to say this is going to be my favorite movie of the year. Like if it's not, like what a great year in movies this would be.
How about though? About like, because for me it left me really wanting more. Like I really want to see a part 3.
Yeah, well, and he wants to do it,
But
right?
but if there wasn't a part 3, would you be satisfied with the way it ended?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I would struggle a bit maybe with that.
I wouldn't be satisfied with what we were like. Oh, man, it's hard.
It doesn't
because
seem like it doesn't seem like it completed everything.
it
But I mean, it did enough.
it's a good enough ending
Yeah.
for part 1, right? Like
Yeah.
or part 2.
Yeah, we're
End
midway
of the first
through.
book.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to say here.
Yeah, exactly.
But there is more, and the rest is good. Just knowing what comes next and what you could be seeing,
Right.
it's hard to not want more of that.
Well, it's funny because I've never read past the first book, so I don't even know what happens really. But
Hey,
so I
it's
think that
great.
might be another reason why. Like, I really want to see where it goes.
Yeah. Well, we probably shouldn't get into those kind of spoilers too, because
No, we won't get into
people
that.
might just want to wait to read the books or
Yeah, and I haven't read it, so I don't want you guys spoiling it for me. All right, so should we need a klaxon or something at this point on? Spoilers ahead.
Yeah,
Been warned.
EB War.
Go watch the movie and then turn us back on.
Okay.
All right.
So I said before that I was a little worried about Christopher Walken in that movie,
Yeah,
and
well, I'd love to hear what you think of that.
I think he was a weak point of the movie.
You think?
Yeah.
It shouldn't have.
I feel like I think he was just miscast, right? Because it's like, don't hire Walken and to not do Walken.
He was just doing his thing.
I think all three of us picked better emperors than
Yeah.
was actually in the movie. Like Christopher Walken, you can't hate him. And I mean, it's not his fault he was cast for it, I guess, but it's just not his role.
No. But I mean, he didn't have a lot to do either. He just basically stood around looking like an
Yeah.
old man.
But everyone, that's the problem. Like everyone else owned it, right?
Yeah,
Like
true.
it was so good.
So what did you guys think of Austin Butler?
Yeah, I thought he did all right. I just kept seeing Elvis. I can't see anything else apart from Elvis. He's like, I'm gonna chop you up, guy.
I liked him. I really liked him.
I liked him too, but I was just like, he's just doing Stellan's voice. Like that was his approach to the role. Like he was just doing Stellan Skarsgård's voice.
Well, yeah, and a couple times I was a little confused because it's like, is that Stellan? But
Yeah,
And he was doing a great approximation of it.
yeah,
Yeah, I think I agree. It's like I thought he did a really good job. He played it really well, but I just felt like someone else could have done the same thing.
Yeah, but like those are like basically my only two complaints.
Yes.
Is like I think Joaquin was cast, and I would rather Austin Butler do a different voice.
And that's
But
pretty minor complaints, though,
Yeah.
isn't it, really?
otherwise, like I was really on board with this movie. I was loving it.
yeah, it lived up to expectations.
I remember before we went in, and this might have been off mic, but we were talking about Florence Pugh and like why they got her in for what seemingly might not be a big role. So I was a bit like, why did she sign up for that? She didn't do anything. Like they brought her in as kind of like the narrator of the second part. That was kind of the way
Yeah.
they framed it, with her doing like diary entries and stuff.
Yeah,
But she like didn't really do anything.
she.
She just talked to
I mean, I guess
like- she
someone
was like
had to be cast. Like,
Princess Exposition, sort of.
someone had to do that, I guess.
Yeah,
and
that-
why not her? But
Yeah,
True,
I
true.
see what you're saying.
I
I
think she
just
was,
really like her. I want to see her do more.
I think she was quite good in the role, and like she'll have more to do in the sequel if they do make another one. I
That's
hope
probably
they
that
do.
might be what it is, right? Maybe she hired on to this for the second one, for the third part.
But the whole like Bene Gesserit thing, like it's really just them kind of scrambling to hold on to power that they
Yep.
see slipping away.
Yeah,
Yeah, like she didn't do anything. Like it wasn't anything with her performance or anything. It was just really just the part. It was like, if they have this part of this princess that's not really doing anything, like why would?
yeah, I agree. The part itself is maybe a little stiff, but
Well, I mean, that's just the character, I suppose.
yeah,
right?
like she's good in it. I'm happy it was her, and happy to see more of her in a sequel whenever and if that comes.
So should we kind of break it up into sections? Like the first section of the movie is kind of Paul just getting used to being a Fremen and trying to win people over while trying to ignore that he's supposed to be their messiah.
Yeah, well, I mean, you started off by saying you weren't sold in the first 10 minutes. So what was it about that sort
Well,
of?
Was it just a bit slower or something?
No, like because they were like when they kept cutting back to like Javier Bardem like saying like, oh, he's definitely like he's the one, and like kind of playing that for laughs.
Yeah,
I
it was
wasn't
a little
expecting him to be
comedic
the
at the start.
comedic
That
relief.
was
right?
weird.
Well, so like that part like kind of wasn't sold on me, and the one thing I was sort of worried about is how it would play the whole like Messiah thing, because
Yeah, that's tricky. It's tricky to do that, right?
because
Yeah.
the David Lynch version really plays it straight and like just kind of plays it from like the Fremen devout believer
Yeah.
point of
Yeah.
view, whereas this one like it really was a very modern take on it, where
Yeah,
like
I wasn't expecting such like a religious, such a focus on the religious aspect of it.
yeah, well, and like it really kind of addressed it like head on, and I've been on the Dune subreddit a lot, and a big thing that a lot of people there kind of say is like, people don't realize that Paul is sort of like a low-key villain.
Yeah, that's just
Yeah.
it, right? He was. I think he is the MVP of the whole.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Like,
So,
yes.
Timothy Chalamet for Best Actor,
Man,
next Oscar.
Yeah.
Like
He's
seriously.
so good, and like he's sold that, right? Like
It-
that whole like fighting against it and like trying to do the right thing, but ultimately just becoming like
Him-
what he knew.
him and
Would end up
Rebecca
happening.
Ferguson both were fucking frightening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
It was so
definitely.
good.
They were so good.
Like, yeah, so for the first third of the movie, he is like denying the fact
Yeah.
that he's wanting anything to do with it, even though like in his heart, like he knows that
Yeah.
he knows what the truth is, but he knows like if he embraces it, like millions of people are gonna die, like in his vision.
It's crazy how it's just like good people trying to do good things always just. If you introduce power, it's always going to get corrupted in the end. It's
Yeah,
like no matter how good your intentions are, just trying to do the good thing or not the good thing every time, like you just end up being in the wrong place no matter what.
I guess that's one thing that this should have mentioned before the spoilers, but something this movie did so much better than part one was just the characters.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was less like setting, like the first part was like setting the chessboard, like moving the pieces around versus like concentrating on the actual
Yeah.
character development and the changes and stuff.
Like I love Oscar Isaac as Leto, but I mean, most of his lines were just like saying desert power and then smiling a little
Yeah,
bit.
he didn't have a massive heart.
You'll be my son.
Yeah, he was there to stand around looking regal.
Well,
Die
I'm
well.
really relieved with how well the Fremen were portrayed.
Yes.
Yes,
It's like
they really didn't go overboard with the blue eyes.
no, they didn't go over.
There was a few scenes where I'm like, are they even blue anymore?
Oh my
Like,
god,
they really
the
just
blue eyes and the lynch one.
Again, like
God.
this can be such like a troublesome text
Like,
to adapt
how
because
do you do blue eyes and it not look stupid?
um
Like he did it.
well, like you're doing a white savior story, so like how do you do that in 2024 and it not like
Right.
be totally ridiculous?
Exactly.
And I think they did such a great job of like showing how they're very diverse people amongst themselves. Like some people are already believers and already on board, and some people are complete skeptics. Think it's total bullshit.
Yeah.
Was that in the book? I don't.
No, it
recall
wasn't.
that.
I don't
Okay.
think. I think like people were pretty much on board with Paul from
That's
the
what I
get go.
thought.
Yeah, I think they played him off as more like ignorant in the book, I think.
Yeah, no. So I think that was a really great change.
Yeah, and I love the way that like the Rebecca Ferguson's character was like you focus on the weakest ones at first.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm
It was
talking
like
about. She was
terrifying.
frightening.
It was like horror movie type
And like
stuff.
they really lean into the fact that like the Bene Gesserit are the ones who are spreading this.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
and
Yeah,
like,
they mentioned that.
it's a
few-
terrible thing that they've been doing. Like it's like they're kind of poisoning this culture with this prophecy, and then
That's like
it's already like
that's like a real world tactic.
oh yeah no it's the way that the movie addressed that head on, and it kind of like it counters any like bad faith arguments against it, saying like you know this is just a white savior movie. It's just about you know this outsider coming in and taking over, and but you know that's what it's about. But it's
Yeah,
sinister.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree.
But how did you guys think? I know it's a stupid question, but what did you think of the action in the movie?
I thought it was great.
I thought it was great too.
This sort of blends into something I want to bring up, but like, how cool does Getty Prime look on camera? Like, just the sun kind of turned things monochrome, I guess.
Yeah, wasn't that insane? And those fireworks were crazy.
Yeah, they're just like these
It
like
was like ink.
yeah
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Like just that
like-
alone, it was like the visual.
The only time that the CGI wasn't working for me was a couple moments in the crowd. You could tell the crowd was sort of like copy pasted a little bit.
Yeah, maybe a bit.
There was one or
Kinda looked
two.
like an
There was one or
NHL
two
24 crowd.
of the really really wide shots, like overhead, where the big invasion at the end, where I was like, I don't know, it looked a bit wonky.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't feel it,
But it was like that's picking
nitpicking,
picking
yeah.
nits there to be
Well,
fair.
you got to pick nits sometimes.
Yeah, it's like it wasn't 100,000,000% believable that was a giant worm. But they looked incredible though, to be fair.
Oh yeah.
Like the sense of scale, they did a really good job of that because it's when they're riding them, it's kind of hard when it's just like, oh, we're just kind of riding on a world. But when they had them up and like the big maw,
Yeah.
like the shot they had in the first one, but they kind of doubled down on it, and at the end when there's like three of them come out, it's like
That's one
Holy,
thing
it's terrifying.
Villeneuve does so much better than anyone else. Just his sense of scale.
yeah,
I think that started with Arrival and has just carried on. Like, he knows how to make big things look extremely good on screen.
yeah, and to look big, like
Yeah.
not just look like they're plunked on the screen next to stuff. Yeah,
I was a little confused too why the Harkonnens had Harkonnens had their own spice harvesters, where in the last movie they were different, but they said the Harkonnens left them there. So
Well, because I
nitpick.
because I think that like the Harkonnens don't technically they didn't technically like own Arrakis. They were like charged with
Right.
getting
Yeah.
spice from Arrakis, and like all the stuff there is actually Imperial equipment that they had to leave when they left.
Yeah, so why'd they bring their where'd they get the nice big bug ones from?
I guess because they sabotaged everything when they left, so they had to bring in new stuff.
Okay, I buy it.
Yeah, there you go.
there you go. We got there in the end because of reasons.
Oh, the new ones were cool.
They looked really great, and they looked great exploding.
Oh yeah, just the sabotage of the carryalls and the
Oh, man.
harvesters was
I could watch
so cool to watch.
guys bursting out of sand dunes
Oh, yeah.
as if from
So
nowhere. Like just they did it quite a bit, but I was still like, I want to see more of that. I feel like you haven't overdone it yet.
I don't think Dune has ever really addressed how these guys fight on not desert planets. I mean, maybe it's a Star Wars universe and every other planet is a desert planet anyway.
Right, exactly. The whole planet is a
how the Fremen would fight, like going into
what's
Yeah.
what's the Atreides planet?
Because they use the desert to their advantage. Like they create sandstorms,
Yeah.
they wait for sandstorms, they hide under the sand. How are you gonna fight on Caladan, bud?
well, but the
maybe it's just like there's so many of them and they're all such good fighters.
well, that's the thing that like Duncan Idaho said in the first movie, that hand to hand they are the best fighters in the world.
Yeah, I guess it's just that they're extremely adaptable.
Yeah, like the only fighters who are better than them are like the top trained people in House Atreides and House
Yeah,
Harkonnen.
it seemed like there was so many of them, and like the majority of them are
Yeah, like
highly
they're
trained.
Yeah.
Just
It's not like you got a couple of platoons of really good Fremen. It's like no, like all of these Fremen will kick your head in.
yeah, just the way that they live, basically,
Exactly,
has acclimatize themselves to be the best fighters.
Predisposed to just be hard as nails.
It's I know people have to act and all that, but like
They don't.
they no one's wearing their damn masks. Y'all are losing a lot of water through your mouth and eyes.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that. It's like you there was a lot of like at the very beginning. It's like, oh, you can't cry. Like don't waste water. And like in the first one, it's like the spitting is like the sign of the thing.
Yeah.
And it's like halfway through, like everyone's crying and kissing and spitting everywhere and fluids flying around. It's like you guys are. No wonder you're dying of thirst.
Do you think like when they're having sex, like moisture conservation is like a big part of it?
Come on, Trevor.
they
You're
gotta-
lowering the tone. I just implied it.
Well, see, when they have sex, it's probably in the tents, right? And those tents capture moisture, so it's all recycled. You get to
there you
drink your
go.
juices the next day.
Just do it inside the still suit. Just recycles everything.
So it's like a dry hump.
I'm assuming there's like a little flap.
It's like pajamas.
It's like this through a sheet.
Oh well, that leads into like how did you feel about Paul and Chani's relationship?
I thought it was good. I bought it.
Yeah.
I really like the evolution of that relationship.
I was a little worried when the first reviews were coming out and saying like, it's an equal like Paul and Chani movie.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
I don't know
but
about that.
like, and it does sort of, once he drinks the water of life, and he becomes basically like a character that you can no longer relate to in any way.
It was like Indiana Jones in Temple of Doom.
Yeah, exactly. But like it almost like it doesn't like completely switch to her POV, but like it sort of switches like half to her
that's
POV
true,
by that
actually.
point on.
Yeah, well, she sort of becomes the only non-believer.
Yeah.
She's like the voice of reason.
Yeah.
And well, I should say that speech that Chalamet gives, like after he drinks that and he walks into the circle, like that's one of the best like monologues I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's
Like, it is so
that's
amazing.
so real,
I love how
baby.
he goes in so hot, and Rebecca Ferguson's like, "Not so, you're going too hard."
Yeah.
But he's like, "Fuck it, I'm
Yeah.
doubling down, and they're gonna listen to me."
It's like they're gonna follow me because like your old traditions are fucking stupid. We're following me now. I'm in charge.
Yeah, I can tell
Sit
you.
down, old man. I don't want to kill you.
Yeah. No, that was a great scene. I did kind of feel like her character. She seemed like at the start, like the first half for the movie, she seemed very like switched on, like she knew more than him and more than most, and she was very smart. But then towards the end, it seemed like things were shocking her, and she didn't see things coming. I'm like, but you, like, I feel like you already saw this coming. Like, you shouldn't be that shocked that this is happening. Maybe it was just like she was trying to stop it still. I
Yeah,
guess.
she had her love blinders on, right? Like
Yeah.
she wanted to love
definitely what it was.
like the Paul who was like with her in the north, and not the person that she was worried that he might become.
Yeah, like she seemed so shocked when he like got offered to marry the princess and stuff. And I'm like, you
Yeah,
gotta have seen that coming.
exactly. I just feel like that's one of those things. It's like you gotta
Yeah,
find
that's
something to
movie.
cut, I guess, and it's just like the audience will put that together themselves. But
Yeah, yeah.
it is too bad that that isn't explored a little bit more.
I think I just felt like she was a really strong character, like had her over, but then she kind of just got pushed into love interest a little bit more.
I don't know. Like I like the character all the way through, and I
Oh yeah, I definitely did like the character, but that was just like I did think it did kind of change a little
I think
bit.
I agree with Pete a little bit. Just she got a little too sidelined, I guess, for
Yeah.
my liking.
I
But
don't. Well, I don't think she got silent at all. I was just saying, like, I thought that it kind of switched to her POV for
I just
the
mean
last third.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Just like sideline as a important character,
Yeah,
I guess.
I think it's just how the character was portrayed. I think that's what it is. It's like she was obviously, yeah, like Trevor said, she's like from her point of view, but it seemed more of like she seemed more helpless, I guess, is what it was. Which is
just more her
because
being
of that's what it
upset.
was.
Yeah, I don't know. I think her being helpless is a good thing because, like, she's kind of by the end of it, she's the one true Fremen left, and she's the one who's seeing, like, you know, we may have just defeated the Harkonnens, but we're going down a really bad path here, and I seem to be the only person who realizes this, and I'm powerless to stop it.
I think I just wanted her to be more pissed off about it versus like she seemed like she was really trying to pull it back when I felt like up until that point her character would have just been like, fuck you then. I'm
Yeah,
gonna go and sort of the Fremen out, which it seems like it was a bit more like she was like pining over him a bit
I
more
guess
than I like.
she was angry, right? But then Gurney kept telling her
Yeah,
to shut up and sit down, right? Just come along for the ride.
true. Maybe I'm just being harsh.
I don't know. I think we're both being harsh.
I just
a little bit.
I feel like I don't want it to be too much of a love fest, even though I do love it.
And so, why do you think that Paul drank like the water of life, um, and he saw like the narrow path to victory? Like, what do you think he saw there? And what are the consequences of what he saw?
I think he saw.
I'm going to take myself out of this conversation.
Oh yeah, he does. I thought he saw Tony Stark sacrificed himself to kill Thanos.
Is that Age of Ultron? Is that
That's an endgame gag.
no? But I thought you were meaning like because in Age of Ultron they all get the visions of the future.
Right? No, it's in the Infinity War. Doctor Strange does the same
Yeah.
thing where he says he sees multiple different futures and only one where they win.
Yeah. Well, I never really thought of that before, but did they kind of steal that from Dune? Basically?
That definitely.
Yeah.
Everyone steals everything from Dune.
But yeah, like is the Golden Path mentioned in the first book, Justin?
That's
don't
what I
think
couldn't
they-
remember. I
I
couldn't
don't think they
remember if
said
they
it.
called it the Golden Path or not. Like if the narrow path is going to develop into the Golden Path.
Well, basically, I think the movie by the end sort of hints at the sacrifice he had to make, like
Yeah.
because they're being pushed out by the Emperor and the Harkonnens, and so they're about to be wiped out. So that he has a path forward that can get them to, you know, take them over. But by doing that, he has to become this religious messiah, which unleashes like this unholy war, which they reference at the very end of the movie.
Yeah,
Which he would be powerless to stop.
I guess very minor spoilers for Dune going forward, but the idea is they sort of follow the trajectory of this golden path or what becomes the golden path that they were just set on at the end of this movie.
Like the one true timeline.
Yeah. Well, but that's the thing, because he sees like all the different paths at once. And we saw in the first half of the movie that he like basically wants to be a good character.
Yeah.
And he's taking the path that kind of got him to like some of the outcomes that he wants, but you have to take a lot of negative that went along with that.
Yeah, it's like there's that switch, right, where he's like, I can't go south because that's going to cause all this horrible shit to happen, and then it's like, he eventually he's like, okay, well, I have to go, and then from that point on, he's like, yeah, I'm just doing all the things that's going to make this horrible shit happen, but this is the only way we can do it.
Millions of people are going to die in my name,
Yeah.
but is like I guess we don't get to see what the other alternatives were, so like maybe the other futures are negative,
And I
but
think a lot of it as well was just like, I just really want to kill the Baron,
yeah, so that's the other thing, like
and I just want my revenge. Like when she says your dad didn't want revenge, he's like, well, I do.
Oh, no. Yeah, so the thing was like this is the one path that sort of preserves humanity
Okay.
through the ages. That's the idea behind it. I guess one thing we haven't touched on at all is Anya Taylor-Joy was in the movie.
Yes, she was.
Very
Funnily
briefly.
enough, for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So this movie was like more truncated than the book, right? Like years are supposed to have passed, and
Yeah, because like it wasn't she supposed to be like a little girl?
yeah, she's
Yeah.
supposed to be a little girl,
Yeah,
right?
she's in
Which
the
I'm kinda
she's in the
glad they
Lynch
didn't
one.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
It always freaked me out in that movie.
I couldn't remember in the book if that was also the case, but I'm pretty sure she like 5 years kind of passes, right, between
Right.
when Leto's
It's like,
assassinated.
what's the gestation period for a Harkonnen baby? Not for a Harkonnen, for an Atreides baby.
I think it's still 9 months. Like they're still humans.
Because, like,
2 or 3 days.
if that's Leto's baby,
Yeah,
like
but-
that means it's still not been 9 months yet.
Yeah, but yeah,
I
exactly.
feel like
Like,
more than that time has passed.
it's a lot of events to have happened within 9 months.
Yeah.
But I understand why they did it, because like you don't want a creepy self-aware baby.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
one thing that always rubbed me a little bit weird about Dune as a whole. It's like the talking baby in the womb, and then as a little baby and a little girl, it's like that's too freaky, man. It's just too freaky.
And when you see that blue goo like going all over the embryo,
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
such
yeah,
a
that's-
disturbing scene.
that's no
Sweet.
good, eh?
It was. Man, he's good, isn't he?
What's that?
Said him, he's good, isn't he?
Yeah. So yeah, we got about 5 minutes left. Any other highlights for either of you?
I'm trying to think.
I think I love Leia Seydoux, but she was barely in it,
Mm.
I guess. What is her name in the movie?
I don't even know.
Yeah, she's a Bene Gesserit who
Yeah.
There was other one that was like
obtains a Harkonnen seed.
seduced him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, is there anyone else we're forgetting that we haven't talked
but we
about?
haven't mentioned. Did we talk about Josh Brolin?
No, we haven't
Not-
talked about
not
Dave
really.
Bautista either.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
Bautista was great.
I was going to say, though, the worst military tactician in history.
Yeah.
It's like, just do it! Yeah, it's like, just kill them all. And then they bring Fader off, and he's like, how about we just bomb the shit out of them? And the man's like, you're a genius! Just
That
bomb
was
the
so
shit out of
strange.
them! We've
He's
got
like,
artillery! It's like, that's all you
that's
guys
traditional artillery.
That's all you guys needed to do, was just realize you could just bomb them?
Like,
Come
Don't you
on.
guys have? I forget. Are nukes technically banned? in
So
this?
yeah, so there is the convention which says nuclear missiles can only be held by the great houses, and they
Yes.
can never be used against human beings. They can be used against structures, which is the technicality that they get away with there. They bomb
Okay.
the shield, not
Yeah, I
not
wondered why. That
populations.
makes the sense
Right.
now. They bomb like the mountain rather than
Yeah,
the...
so like
Yeah.
because of like the Butlerian Jihad, which is events that happened like thousands of years before the start of Dune.
That was when they blow up all the computers and stuff.
Yeah, because AIs have taken over. That's why there's no computers in Dune.
Yeah.
And then as like part of that whole thing, like people keep nuclear missiles to ever combat people who might come back with AIs. But you're never supposed to use them against human beings. It's like the ultimate taboo.
Gotcha.
Which I feel like there were still some casualties from that
Yeah.
nuclear
I
blast
mean,
there.
It's like they don't seem to be too bothered about other rules, to be honest. Like, I'm sure they'd just be throwing nukes around for fun.
It was just sort of like, well, the nukes didn't kill them.
Yeah, the mountain did when it came down on
Like,
that.
I'm just going to fire my nukes in this direction if you happen to stand in the way. That's your fault.
I'm gonna eat this pie.
It's like, I'm just going to...
It's Batman logic.
Yeah. If anyone had a brother, that's like the brother thing. It's like, I'm just going to swing my fist here. If you happen to put your face in the way, that's your fault. Yeah, but one thing I did sort of, I couldn't remember, or like they didn't really get into it as much in this one, is how the shields work, or who had shields.
Oh yeah, that like they did it. They did a pretty good job in the first one.
and because I forgot all about it until right at the end when they were fighting, and they showed that when they were fighting the Harkonnens, they had shields.
Like you
So-
can't.
It's
Yeah,
like, remember,
because-
Gurney Hellig's really good at fighting with shields.
So shields are more of a thing in the first one, because when you're on Arrakis, if you have the shields on, it makes the worms go insane and they instantly swarm towards you and attack you. If you have
they could
a
have said
shield on in the desert,
I guess none of the Fremen had shields either, so it's like it's not,
well, that's why
That's
they
the
have
thing.
that's why they have an advantage in the desert, because like you basically can't use shields or you'll be
they're not used
done
to
in a second.
At the very start, they're on a rock, right? And rocks are supposed to be havens from worms.
right.
But the Harkonnen say like one of the first lines in the movie is no shields.
Yeah.
And I didn't really understand why at that point, because like you're not
Right.
supposed to use shields in fighting, because if you shoot a shield with a laser, you both blow up in a nuclear explosion.
Yeah, which they
that's right.
never really mentioned that, right?
No.
I read that, but I'm like, they didn't really talk about that.
No, so it's all hand to hand, but
Like, if
at
that's
the
just you would
start, I
never
didn't
shoot at anybody just in case.
It is kind of just like a bunch of gobbledygook so
Yeah,
that
so you can do fighting with swords.
Yeah, exactly.
We need to do hand-to-hand fighting, even though it's the future. So reasons with shields and stuff.
Yeah, so a couple episodes ago, we had like best fights with no guns or superpowers, and I feel like that final scene between Paul and Fayed
Yep.
is
Hey,
gonna be up there.
that was a good fight. I'll give that.
that's got to be up there.
Like,
He handles getting stabbed real well.
Yeah. Well, there's that's just such a great fight about that shows like people of two equal skill going up against each other. How you would win in a fight like that. And
Yeah.
the guy was like almost like a technically better fighter than him
Yeah.
too.
Oh yeah. Hubris got him. No, that was a great one.
Yeah, great fight. All of the fight scenes were great. Like the first fight at the Harvester.
Yeah, that
When they popped out of the
that
sand
might
there.
be a highlight for me.
I really like how quickly he took out the beast as well. He's just like,
Oh
That
yeah,
was so,
it's like, it's not even going to be a fight. I'm just going to
you thought
wreck you immediately.
thought it was gearing up for like like a sub boss fight there, and he just like
Exactly.
ends him instantly.
It's like, I've been waiting for this. Boom, you're done.
Oh, great. Well, we're pulling up to Pete's house, which means it's time to close another episode.
Yeah.
So why don't you guys give us some feedback? We asked a question on, what your most wished for sequel would be. Then we also did a Dune Recast Draft, so you can let us know who you would cast and whether we did a good job or not.
Yeah, let's see your fine casting.
Thanks, Justin, for
Yeah,
joining us
huge
today.
thanks to Justin.
anytime,
Thank you, my
guys.
friend. Great to have you on.
Yeah, first guest, I think was a great success, although you made some powerful enemies today.
Yes, apologies to the people of Vancouver and Basel.
I'm not apologizing.
That's fine.
We like to punch up on the show. We don't punch down.
Yeah, you gotta go for like Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah.
People deserve it.
All right. Well, yeah, you can contact us at firstlookfinalwordpod@gmail.com or hit us up on any of the socials.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on Letterboxd now. We're on Instagram, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, who cares?
We're on
Instagram.
we're on everything.
We're on everything. Yeah.
Apart from the cool stuff that the kids use, like TikTok.
Yeah. Maybe we should. Do you know TikTok, Justin?
I'd rather shoot myself.
Yeah. Somebody set us up a TikTok.
Yeah, we're all old
We'll,
now,
get-
so
we'll give you credit.
okay.
Yeah, I guess that's it then for this week.
Yeah, Dune 2. Go to see it in the theater.
Yes. 6.5 stars
Yeah.
across the board.
There you go.
And I guess that's for Dude 2. That's the final word.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.